I don't know what is going on, but she's been sniffing the air up there for quite some time now. I don't know if there a cat here or a mouse, rat. I don't know. Oh, my alarm clock went up to remind me to get up. It's only 5:45 and we are already outside because this one said we need to go. Okay, cheers. Oh yeah. So yesterday morning she met Nar and Thor. Unfortunately, she ate only with Thor. So yeah, she's basically starving. Yesterday evening, Lizzie, tuki, greva čez? Pridi, tuki. Okay, kebab patrol. Greva tuki. Let's go once again across the road because we have plenty of time and we will not wait. Pridi, Lizzie, greva. Čez. I don't know what she's watching. I think she thinks that mom will go today to work like yesterday, and she's watching for her, but she's not. You see, once again, watching. So one of the main stories this week was that the government is preparing a new legislation. Hi, Elise. The government is preparing a new legislation regarding the separation of the public and the private healthcare system. And basically what they are planning to do is to prevent or severely limit how much the medical staff, primarily medical doctors, can work in the private sector besides the public sector. Basically, when they are employed primarily in the public sector, from if the legislation will go through and they have majority, that means that the doctors employed in the public sector will be very limited or basically restricted to work in the private sector in their off hours. Tuki greva Lizzie, tuki, which means big problems, because we have some doctors are so in demand that they work in the morning they work in the public hospital, and in the evenings, in the afternoons, they work additionally also in the private sector. And if the legislation will be passed, that means that quite a lot of problems will be up ahead. Okay, we'll be right back. Lizzie, pretty tuki greva tuki. Oh, just a quick intermezzo. Do you remember that hound that we usually meet here, and when she will always bark at Lisa, and she's usually loose. Well, apparently this week or recently she got attacked by a smaller dog, and She needed a surgery. Apparently, the smaller dog, pulled her skin, basically bit her, and then pulled quite a lot of her skin, not completely off, but down basically. I don't know. I haven't seen her, but yesterday I got the news. Nadi, as I was trying to say, some doctors are quite in demand because of their specialization, and if this happens, there will be quite a lot of problems because currently a lot of doctors are already working at the same time in several different by several different employers, private and public. And as a reaction to this news, in one of the local hospitals, smaller ones, 5 surgeons submitted their resignation, which will take in effect in 2 months. But yeah, and 3 are trauma surgeons and 2 are abdominal surgeons. And now basically they said if these 3 trauma surgeons will leave, that means that it's the end of their trauma department, because they will not be able to cover it with existing personnel. And of course, the governmental supporters are already quite pleased with this, even with the resignation. Let them live, let them experience how bad the private sector is. They are living a double life, because one of those that resigned is a director of a private medical facility. And of course, if that means that they will actually leave, because now they have, let's say, 2 months for negotiations, that means that the end, the patients that rely solely on the public sector healthcare, they will be at a loss, because there will be no one to treat them, and they will be then forced to go to the private sector, well, if they have money. People just don't think long term. And what is the problem, in my opinion? It's twofold. First, the supply chain to Slovenian public healthcare system is severely compromised. We are paying more for medical supplies and medical equipment, drugs, than others. So a couple of years there was a big deal when media reported that we are paying more for cardiological stents, the support for the blood vessels, that we are paying, I think, like 20% more than in Germany. And funny thing is, let's say one of the biggest medical suppliers, is also an owner of one of the biggest left-wing political weeklies, who are always, railing how we need public healthcare system, where their owners are making quite a lot of money from all of us. So this is one of the problems, major one, where we are losing money compared with other countries. But the second is how our health insurance company public covers the costs. So basically it goes like this: in advance, so for a year ahead of us, the insurance company will decide how many procedures they will cover through the healthcare coverage insurance. So basically, let's say for this doctor, or this hospital, we will pay them for 100 surgeries, open heart surgeries. Okay. And that means when, let's say, if the doctor, the surgeon, completes all of these 100 procedures in, let's say, 6 months, so 20 per, it's enough. That means for the next 6 months he isn't allowed, or she isn't allowed, to do any more surgeries, open heart surgeries, because the insurance will not cover it, because he has already filled his quota for that year. And that means, he can provide, let's say, examination, and he can schedule new patients for the procedure for the next year, but not in this year. And of course, because surgeons, they have to non-stop be, they have to practice constantly their basically trade. The fingers have to be always moving. How they deal with this problem? Of course, they go to the private sector, where people will have to pay, and they thus skip the line, but are operated on, because they pay all the costs. And this is this is basically the most severe problem that we have with this planned expenditure. I don't know how to, for example, during COVID, some majority of the categories regarding different procedures fell down, but they've spent more than planned money for pulmonary, lungs and infective diseases, what they planned, So you cannot plan in advance how many people will need certain procedure, you know, how many people will broke their arm, leg, how many surgeries will be needed. This is the problem. And they were trying, this government last year, I believe, tried to get a new system working, and they actually basically said, we will even spend more money, we will give you more money for the procedures that you need to do, you know, to basically to reduce the waiting lines. And in fact, they even, and the fact is that in some cases, in some categories, the lines are now even longer than before. And now, you know, the third problem is that we don't have enough of doctors. Some specializations are not desirable, like family medicine, primary physicians, and also the intake of new medical students is basically kept very low. I don't know why. You know, they say officially the universities are autonomous, so they can, you know, do what they ever want. But if the government is not willing to pay money for the new students, because here university education is free, that means, you know, they can basically have as many free spots available as long as well, it depends on how much money the government is willing to give from the budget for their tuitions. So yeah, problems. And we always saying, you know, we want to be the second Switzerland, but why don't we take over or implement their system, where, you know, healthcare system? Well, because there they don't favor public system, but, you know, it's combined. And let's say also in Czech Republic or Czechia, they also have a good system, the same. Or in Austria, I quite like their system. You can basically go to whoever, public or private, and insurance will pay to them no matter what. Because at the end, it's, you know, the question that the person will get better, and not who will pay it or when. So yeah, well, we will see what will happen here. And here we are. Liza will go in her waiting mode. Okay, quite a long video for today.